What's going on, Grizz Nation? Welcome into another Grizz Game Day update. I am joined by Cayleigh Griffin for the first time this season because the Grizzlies are taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight in Memphis. Cayleigh, it's so good to see you.
Kelcey, it is so good to see you. I can't believe it's just the first time, but it should be a good one.
Yes. We were just talking before I started, and I'm going to have you like today, and then we'll have the Cavs again like in a few weeks. So it'll be fun to see the differences in the team. And I say that because one of the star players is out today for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell ruled out. The Cavs are coming off a win over the Pelicans, and that is where Donovan Mitchell left early, right?
Yes, he left in the third quarter with a groin strain. So again, the groin injuries are always kind of questionable. You don't know what's going to happen in terms of how long the injury will be. So obviously that's a disappointing one because this I felt like had the potential to have a superstar matchup with Ja Morant and Donovan Mitchell facing off. But good news is they will be playing each other early in February again. But yes, Donovan Mitchell, he was also dealing with an illness over the last 2 games of their 5-game road trip. So this could potentially be a good opportunity for Donovan to just get fully healthy in terms of health and also working on the groin strain.
Okay. And now, I mean, with or without him, this team has won 6 of their last 9. However, when I talk about the Grizzlies playing at home, they've only lost 3 games. They've won 19 at home. The Cavs are 9-13 on the road. And without Donovan Mitchell, I think the battle of the backcourt is going to be, I'm going to say, the number 2 most important thing tonight for both teams. So it'll be obviously Ja and Des, who are full strength right now for the Grizzlies. And then Darius and Caris LeVert steps up. And I think when I was looking at this, I was like, oh, okay, so it's LeVert and not Mitchell. But then I looked, LeVert has scored like 20 or more points in the 7 starts or 7 of his 20 starts or something. Like, he is very capable.
Caris LeVert has been the ultimate glue guy for this Cavaliers team all season long. His versatility is his greatest strength when it comes to what he brings to this Cavs team. He's been asked to be in the starting lineup as a shooting guard, playing the 3 a little bit as well. He comes off the bench. JV Bickerstaff has used him in so many different ways. He's also played point guard actually a little bit too with Darius Garland when he would randomly come be out. So his versatility has been so important to this Cavaliers team. And when he is a starter, he has more of the ability to be an aggressor when it comes to attacking. And that's what he's known best for, is his ability to attack inside, find those driving lanes, and get to the free throw line as well. So Caris LeVert is certainly a guy that is able to step up in those big moments. This Cavaliers team has dealt with injuries throughout the season, so they have embraced that next man up mentality. Obviously, not having Donovan does play a little bit of a damper when it comes to this backcourt matchup because Donovan and Darius are the highest scoring backcourt duo in the NBA. So that would have been really fun. But again, Caris LeVert brings this extreme versatility, and he's been great when it comes to what he's able to do in the starting lineup. But then again, when you think of Ja Morant, Darius Garland, both coming out of the 2019 draft, maybe a little bit of a chip on their shoulder when it comes to those two and what they bring and what they've been able to accomplish already in their young careers.
Yeah, and let's talk about Darius real quick because it is the first time that Grizzlies are seeing him this year. Again, a very capable player. I mean, he had 41 points against Boston earlier this year. Like, he is a guy who, yes, we would have loved to see Donovan Mitchell, but he can put on a show too.
He certainly can, and he finished with 30 and 11 against the Pelicans on Monday. He has that knack for when Donovan Mitchell isn't in the mix, he knows that he has to go into score mode. And that's been probably the biggest challenge for for Darius throughout the season, is finding that balance of being a point guard, being a true point guard this year, because he has Donovan Mitchell who can be a scorer. He doesn't have to do as much of that this season like he had to do last year. But when he does have to do it, he is able to find his shots. He's able to get into a rhythm. He can find those driving lanes as well. He certainly can knock down the 3 ball. So Darius is a player that steps up in those big moments. And when he knows his team needs him to, he's certainly capable of doing so.
And now, Cayleigh, I said that was the second most important thing in today's game. The first has to be that this is the number 1 versus number 2 defensive rated teams in the entire league. And I looked it up. So the Grizzlies, on the offensive end, are 4th in the league in second chance points. They love the offensive rebounds and going back up. Obviously, this is on their offensive end. Cleveland allows the second least amount of offensive rebounds. And I think that's a big key to their highly rated defense as well. What do you picture today's game like with these like very, very good defensive teams?
I think it's going to be a complete grinded out battle on the defensive end. I'm super curious to see what the matchups are like because obviously Jaren Jackson Jr. comes in as probably the lead when it comes to potential defensive player of the year, but in that conversation is Jared Allen as well. So there are two guys who are going to be battling it out inside. Now, Steven Adams obviously presents his own challenge in terms of his physicality, more of a bruiser, which Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, not so much of that build, but they have created this wall. They are the anchor of the defensive effort for this Cavaliers team. But this is a Cavs team that's prided itself on defense all year long. They have been the top rated defense for much of this season. So I'm curious actually if someone told them that the Grizzlies are now the top rated defense, because that is something that they've relied on throughout the season. When I was looking at the Grizzlies offensive stats, I was actually just so incredibly impressed to see how well they've been playing defensively, because they are so dominant offensively as well. It is going to be a huge challenge for the Cavaliers defensively. It starts with the individual defense. Of course, I wasn't at shoot around. Obviously, I'm here in Cleveland, so I'm curious who draws specific matchups. But the Cavaliers have a lot of quality guys when it comes to Lamar Stevens, Isaac Okoro, Karis LeVert, another one who pride themselves on the defensive end as well. It's going to start with the front court, of course, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley anchoring the defense inside. But again, I think it's going to be a true grinded out defensive battle, which is not something we really see in the NBA. We certainly haven't seen much of it this season with all the high scoring games. So I'm excited to see what this could bring.
Absolutely. Now, you had mentioned the Grizzlies offense. Just if you're watching this and you're from Cleveland, or you aren't aware of the Grizzlies, right now they're fourth in the league in scoring. The Cavs 26, so bottom-ish of the league. And then rebounding wise, my last question for you, Cayleigh. Rebounding wise, the Grizzlies lead the league in rebounds, and not necessarily offensive, just as a whole. The Cavs are 21st. Who's gonna have to step up tonight and grab rebounds?
It's going to have to start with the bigs. It's quite frankly, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley need to battle inside. I'm curious to see what JB Bickerstaff throws in terms of, because he's a little shorthanded, will he throw in a Robin Lopez maybe just to battle inside a little bit more, create some more physicality, pick up some fouls if he needs to. It's something that he's done in the past. It's certainly something he can do more. He's used his depth quite a bit more over the last few games now with Ricky Rubio getting healthy and trying to implement him back into the system. So this Cavaliers team is a smaller team overall, but it's going to start with the bigs in terms of having to crash the glass, but they got to box out. They got to find bodies. They got to get in there. They got to protect those driving lanes. It's going to be really interesting. The Cavaliers, although they are so low in scoring, they're actually scoring one of the highest percentages in franchise history, which is so interesting. I think it just tells the story of where the league is right now in terms of how efficient and how high scoring these games are. But I'm really excited to see this matchup tonight. I think it's going to be a really good battle, and wish Donovan Mitchell was playing, but again, we see these two teams again early February. It should be a good one here tonight.
Yes, this one tips off at 7 p.m. Central Time if you're watching from Memphis. That is 8 p.m. if you're watching from Cleveland. Cayleigh, thank you so much for your time today. And hey, let's do it again in a couple of weeks, right?
Let's do it. I'll be around.
Fully healthy this time, though. Let's hope.
Yes.
Grizzlies fans, if you are coming into the arena tonight, make sure you get there nice and early. Stay warm, stay safe. It's a little cloudy outside. And then if you're watching at home, you can watch on Bally Sports Southeast and the Bally Sports Plus app.